So I'd like to talk about some basic self-sustainability and 6 very simple steps to be aware of in maintaining your environmental quality and self-sustainability, going green from the inside out so that you can feel the change you want to be in the world. The 6 parts are eat, move, sleep, think, feel, and act. So it's really, you're not going to be going out of your way to establish self-sustainability. You're going to be doing the things that you already do, just with a more sustainable approach. That's the idea. Work with what you've got. You already have everything you need. You don't need to go get something else in order to become sustainable now. You can drop in and go exactly where you are with what you've got. So let's launch into it. Number 1 is eat. So what you eat. Is your food real food? In other words, does it know where it came from? Is it aware of itself as a food item, like from the earth, right? Meant to be eaten, meant to be consumed by human beings, digested by human beings? Or is it some foreign object that's the result of genetic modification, chemical ingredients, factory packaging, hormones, and all kinds of other artificial means of producing food, to where it just maybe says chicken but it's not, or it says, pretends to be edible when really the list of ingredients is like, what is that? I'm not sure what that is. So when it comes to eating real food, you just really just go back to how many steps, how many layers of processing exist between this item that I'm holding and its original source. And by original source, I mean a natural source. Food is not supposed to be artificial. And if you are what you eat and you're eating fake food, then you're not going to feel what's really going on inside. So you are what you eat. And you are how you eat it. And if you've ever seen what water molecules do under the influence of different vibrations, like if you show a water molecule that's been really charged with love and positive energy, it forms molecular structures, beautiful crystals. This photography is available online. You can Google it. And then if you look at a water molecule that's been badgered with negativity, the crystal of the molecular structure is just completely disjointed and it just looks all like shattered glass. So that is the actual physical structure being impacted by the vibration that is being put onto it. Now, if your food contains mostly water, which most real food contains a good amount of water, the way you feel as you eat, if you're eating with appreciation and love and gratitude and enjoyment and celebration, then that's going into you. Like, you're becoming more of that feeling. On the other hand, if you're eating with self-loathing or out of an unhappy emotional space, then that's actually having a physiological effect on just everything that's going on. It's just compounding that disjointedness. So when we think in terms of sustainability, eating is foundational. You are what you eat and you are how you eat it. So eat real food with loving appreciation. Next, moving on. 2, move. If you're gonna have this environmental clarity, and you're going to have that sense of self-sustainability. Spend time every day tuned into your body, because it's really lovely. We got all kinds of stuff going on up here and directing, all of this movement as we think of it, but really there's something so powerful about just taking the thinking cap off and giving your body a turn at the wheel, giving your body a turn to speak, right? So movement, it doesn't matter what it is that you like to do. Maybe you like to dance or walk or run or do Tai Chi or swim or surf, or maybe just silly jumping jacks. I don't know. It could be anything. But if it's done with this mindful, meditative intention, if it's done with like a yoga, I'm moving my body now, I'm connecting my brain and just sort of aligning it with my body mind and seeing where my body wants to go. And that is restoring my breath and my circulation and strengthening my core and just everything about my physical experience, which really does a lot for how I perceive how I'm doing in life. It's really a question of like, how does my body feel? We classify everything and analyze everything, but the brain is a lot of times just going off of analysis based on what the body's feeling. So, a great way to increase environmental awareness and self-sustainability is to tune into the body through mindful movement every single day. So, eat, move, sleep. You've got to sleep, man, woman, child. You get busy, I understand. We have a lot to do. And it seems like sleeping is the first thing to slip when we get busy. And this is totally backwards, because when you get busy, the thing that you really want to have is clarity and efficiency and not be stressed out. Well, it just so happens that if you're not rested, everything is harder. You're more stressed out. You cannot think as clearly. Your immune system is lower. So if you're busy, how do you expect to really effectively handle that load if you're not giving your body the rest, if you're not giving your mind the rest that it needs? So let's say you get really busy. Priority number 1, make sure you get your sleep. 7 hours, 8 hours. That's a luxury that you can afford. Put it in your budget and everything about your life will thank you. If you feel like you have difficulty sleeping or insomnia or that it's hard to get enough sleep, just stop that. Stop telling yourself that and think of sleep as your vacation time. Think of sleep as as you just set aside that time at night to unwind and relax and just prepare to rest and restore. And that is an awesome thing. That's a vacation within every 24-hour cycle that you get to take. Staycation right in your own bed. And you can go all kinds of places in your dreams, right? So you can fly. You can fly in your dreams without the help of an airplane. So that is vacation potential right there. That's getaway potential. Eat, move, sleep. And then we get into think. Think. All right. So thinking is a tricky one because the mind is an organ, the brain is an organ, and its function is to be highly sensitive and adapting always to what it perceives as the needs of the organism to thrive in the environment that it's in. And we have this oftentimes totally out of tune environment, if we're living in, say, 2013, somewhere in the vicinity of America or another country in the world, it's quite likely that there's a lot of forces going on all the time in the culture and social historical situation that are very difficult to think about. So thinking is really not an easy task in this day and age. So how to think responsibly. The monkey mind is that sort of compulsive thinking, addictive thinking pattern that's just like thinking all the time because that's what it does. It's an organ and it's just going to keep playing its little tune. La 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 la, thoughts, thoughts, thoughts. Well, environmental awareness, number one, is a process of becoming aware of your thoughts and recognizing if thoughts are irrelevant, useless, limiting, negative, and kind of cut all of that out. Cut all of it out. How do you do that? How do you get control of your mind? Number one, by ceasing to identify with it as who you are. You can have thoughts, but you are not what you're thinking. That isn't who you are. There's space between you and the thought. So you can look at a thought and be like, meh, I don't even think that's true. Delete. And meditation and things like this are all geared towards strengthening that mind control, or, having more of a finger touch relationship with the volumes and the equalizer and stuff. But here's some tricks. There's 3 tricks, 3 tools, if you will, to monkey mind management. Here's one. Just do things differently, like things that you normally do on a regular basis, routine sort of things. Just switch up the order, do it on one foot, do it kind of upside down, backwards, inside out. The idea being that you're breaking out of the autopilot so that you're more in your senses, you're more hands-on with what you're doing. And that's a way to turn the volume down on the mind and bring the awareness into the moment, into the present, into your body, into the once-in-a-lifetime experience that you're having every single moment, which has got to be more interesting than the daily grind of the mind that is saying the same thing, generally speaking, over and over and over and over. Another thing that you can do is you can assign the mind some constructive tasks, because the mind is really just trying to help. It just wants to participate. And you can give it something useful to do, like finding things to be appreciative of, or it's completely up to you. You could just give like mantra, like repeating a mantra, turning, catching any negative thoughts and turning them positive, right? Just like give the mind a constructive activity, and it'll become more cooperative. Yes, like a toddler that wants to cook with you in the kitchen. Yes. Another thing that you can do is to tell the mind, okay, you can think whatever you want, but the thoughts have to be in a certain format, such as in bubble letters, or scrolling marquee, or PowerPoint presentation, one slide at a time. And what this does is it's kind of similar to giving the mind a constructive task, but it also slows down the thinking process and puts that distance and that space so that you have the ability to just kind of observe the thoughts like as if they were just scrolling along the bottom of the screen. You can sort of check in with them or ignore them and just stay present, focused on the actual scene that's happening and not the mental commentary. So you sort of put the mental commentary in its place, right? Tell it how you would like it to be. Give it a format so that it's not just taking over the whole show. Yeah. So those are some ways that you can manage the monkey mind a little bit and get into some more sustainable thinking habits. The other thing that's nice about really slowing down and hearing yourself think when it comes to environmental awareness is because your mind is like the producer or the director of your personal reality show, and you want to know what's going on and what the characters are that are being developed and so forth, then you really want to be aware of what you're thinking. And that non-sustainable stuff, and it creates so much drama. It's so Jerry Springer. And it's just, man, it's hard to watch, hard to live with. And we think that that's normal. There's no reason for that to be normal. And the whole point of a shift in consciousness is changing what's normal. So that normal is no longer a really polluted environment and codependency and addiction and attachment to every fossil-fueled external source of energy we can get our hands on. But normal is thriving from within, eye contact, heart space open, body flourishing, creative production flourishing, collaboration, healing, healthy relationships, happy families. You know what I mean? So, eat, move, sleep, think, feel how you feel. This one is awesome. You know what's awesome about feeling sustainably? Your only job is to feel good right now. Feelings are so immediate. Like, you literally cannot, I mean, you can try to think ahead, you know, we're experts at thinking ahead, but feeling is an immediate experience. How you feel is an anchoring you to the present moment all the time. You don't really remember how you felt a minute ago because you're feeling how you feel right now. And you can't conceive of what you feel tomorrow. You can think you're going to feel shitty or wonderful, and it's irrelevant. Feelings are current events, always. So, always be aware of how you really feel about what you're doing and find what feels good for you in the present moment so that you can consciously create a positive experience for yourself emotionally. Now, this doesn't mean that you're always happy, right? Stuff hurts. And it's okay for that to be the case. You can make peace with pain as part of the human experience. Have compassion, feel the full range of your emotions. Let the fact that you're feeling how you really feel good. Let the fact that you're not repressing your feelings, that you're not like, oh, I'm fine, I really feel like shit, which makes me feel even worse because I'm not supposed to feel like shit. No, I don't want to feel like shit. Oh God, I feel like shit. No, it's okay. Actually, it's going to pass through much quicker if you're not resisting it, if you're not clamping up your sphincters mentally, emotionally, you know. But you're just like, oh, okay, I feel not so good right now. And just be gentle with yourself and allow yourself then to think, oh, okay, well, what will make me feel better? So this is excellent news. That means that our job is to be aware of what feels good and move in that direction always. Okay? It feels good sometimes to scream or cry. It feels good to laugh. It feels good to say what you're really thinking and, you know, even just exactly what you're really feeling to somebody. Like, these are all things that we don't necessarily allow ourselves to do because we're so afraid of our feelings, or we're trying to control our feelings, or make our feelings subordinate to our mind's idea of what we want things to be like. Well, this is never a sustainable way to go, because the feelings, if they're not expressed, they stay trapped somewhere and they manifest in another way that's probably less direct and therefore messier, especially if it's negative or difficult feelings. That stuff has got to be worked through, man, woman, child. And magic also, when you're feeling good, you are effectively saying yes to the forces in the universe, the solar power that is constantly seeking to provide you with life-giving abundance. That's what it does. It shines in the moment. It flows as a current of energy to saying, just like, it's just like, free for all, plug in. This is what really feels good. And this is what feels good from within. It's not a temporary feel good, hope it doesn't run out. So it feels good, but I'm a little anxious at the same time. No, like, feels good because in my skin I feel good, right? Because I've cultivated that awareness of what feels good for me, and I've developed the confidence that I can steer myself in that direction. I don't need to wait for some other circumstances or conditions or things to be a way that's different from what they are. I've created the muscle memory and the skill and the habit of allowing good feelings to arise from within me naturally in this moment. Yes. So, eat, move, sleep, think, feel, act. Action. They say action speaks louder than words. Well, it's a figure of speech. Action is really all about how you do it. What you do, okay. A lot of us are very focused on what we're doing, and we're just checking it off the list. But how you do it, what's your intention behind it? Because you could be feeding the homeless. That could be your what. But if your how is like, oh my God, I don't want to do this right now, I could be doing so many other things, let's get this over with, then you're actually draining your energy. But if your how is, just I'm present to what I'm doing, I'm appreciating what I'm doing, it's coming from love, it's coming from service, then you are producing energy, you're giving yourself a solar power charge. So any action that you do has the potential to really have an impact on both your environment as well as the environment, the space around you, and everybody in it. And this is real-time benefit. This is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. And the ultimate activism is just identifying how you can produce. Be a producer and not a consumer. How you can act in a way where you just are doing the right thing, that your environmental awareness is developed, where you know what that is, and you don't have to try or fake it, but you can just allow yourself and trust yourself to do the right thing, take the right action, be guided in the moment, because that's where the efficiency of solar power living comes in, is that it really, you can just act accordingly, right? Like, let the state of presence, of flow, just kind of direct where you go and how you move. And action really becomes effortless and a joy, and not a draining series of obligations and jobs to do, right? Even the most trivial and mundane task, if it's done with simple appreciation and for its own sake and not personal gain, um, for like ego purposes, right? Because that's going to be very difficult to feel fulfilled on actions that are done for egoic personal gain. In fact, it's like inherently unfulfillable in that direction. But if your action is just for its own sake and to be done with as much quality as you can give it in that moment, then it is a work of art. Yeah. Action as art and art as action. So, those are a few thoughts about sustainability in our basic areas of eat, move, sleep, think, feel, act. And they are, of course, all interrelated. They really are just points around a central hub, which is your solar power core. And this is just your solar power system. Everyone's solar power system is unique, even though it's all made of the same stuff. And the route of environmental awareness and self-sustainability is about restoring your own solar power system, because you're the only one that can do it. Nobody can do it for you. And so getting back to the basics, sharing notes, celebrating what feels good, eating real food together, educating and sharing the word, and collaborating as communities, taking action, and then just dancing. And a great thing to do is to start having more conversations about self-sustainability, as this is something that all living human beings have in common, is the need to sustain themselves. So whether you're talking to a friend, a family member, or the guy sitting next to you on the bus, you have in common eat, move, sleep, think, feel, act. So you want to share some solar power, generate some solar power, make it a point to, as often as it seems natural and as often as it's serving you and the other, and just make it a point to discuss sustainability, personal sustainability. Laugh, tell stories. It's funny. We are awkward when we're evolving. We're figuring out that pretty much everything in the grocery store shelf, in most cases, is crap. That's like a revelation. I want to sit next to the guy on the bus and just laugh about that and be like, oh my God, everyone needs to know this, right? It's like, this is a real connection we can have with people when we come to terms with just the physics and the mechanics of our being and what works, what feels good, right? And so it creates a lot of connection. And the thing about connection is that is like solar power extravaganza, man. The charge between people getting into the same present moment, the same time together. It's like, it just does something. So, it's a beautiful life. Live it up.